touch the sand. It's completely ridiculous, and it's just going to make the cop less empathetic to your problem. We can't tell him that there's a monster because we'll lose all credibility, and he won't take us seriously. We need to be very strategic to not waste this opportunity. So the smartest thing to do here is to actually lie. If we tell him the truth, he's going to make us leave the beach. But if we tell him we saw someone planting a landmine and are terrified of stepping on the sand, he's going to call for backup. We have to scare him with a threat that he's prepared to leave. And when more officers come, there will be enough witnesses to realize the real threat hidden. Now, Kaylee here decided to walk up and take his pepper spray, but left the man to die. It's cold-blooded as hell, and I love it, but there was one thing even more valuable that she completely ignored. When this cop stepped out onto the sand, he was able to walk around completely safe from the monster because he had these huge boots on. If cold-blooded is how we want to play this, then as soon as he got stuck in the sand, I would have told him to stretch his legs out to the ramp so that we can pull him up to safety. He would agree in desperation, and once his feet are close enough to the edge, I would pull off his boots and leave him to die. These things are much more useful than pepper spray because they will actually let us leave this place. But Kaylee here settled for less, and it's about to get someone else killed. Even though it's not the best outcome, this cop dying is not the end of the world, because his disappearance won't go unnoticed. This man is an on-duty officer, and if dispatchers don't hear back from him, or he doesn't return to the station, the entire department will know something is wrong. They have the tools to track him down to this beach, because onboard laptops inside police cars have GPS tracking that's keeping tabs at all times, including when the engine is turned off, so they should be able to find him easily. The bad news is, there doesn't seem to be any sign of an onboard computer or mobile radio system. That means even if the students get in, there's no way they can personally contact anyone for help, and nobody is keeping track of the vehicle's location. The only hope they have is that the cop reported their case as he was driving over here, and someone from his department fails to contact him. With no better options, Shonda throws him a towel to cover his feet, but as he's leaning over the railing, it breaks and he falls into the sand below. The others can do nothing, as the monster's tentacles inject their poison, paralyzing him. He's just become another victim of the beach and gets eaten alive in front of their eyes. That's 4 victims down and only 5 more to go. With another friend dead, Kaylee here is feeling hopeless, but notices the railing being moved by the monster and comes up with a new plan. She orders the other girl to get on the hood of the car and grab the railing as it moves towards her. Acting quickly, she follows the instructions, and that's when the blonde girl climbs over the metal rails before jumping straight into the car. Joining Shonda, she climbs to the back, and together they manage to lift up the trunk door. Ronnie's finally free and wraps her mangled figure in a towel. The girls realize they need to get over to the picnic table to rescue their friend and take him to the patrol car where they'll be safe, but things won't be that easy. The girls start placing the railings on the ground, and Shonda makes a path to the picnic table. She reaches her boyfriend safely, and Kaylee here manages to cross without any problems. But when this blonde girl tries to walk over, things go wrong. She suddenly stops in place, looking down at her bleeding hand, and loses her balance. Thinking quickly, Kaylee sprays the ground with the mace right before the girl hits the sand. She screams in terror, and the others expect her to be dragged under the surface, but nothing happens. The girl is fine and reaches a hand out to her friends for help, but suddenly the monster grabs a hold of the girl, pulling her into the beach. That's 5 victims down and 4 more to go. With the patrol car nearly in reach, Shonda climbs over the table and picks up a bag. She tells the blonde Mitch had the right idea and begins covering her feet in a protective layer of cloth. But the survivors never notice that tentacles are reaching out for Gilbert's barrel, and the monster is about to have its main course. Okay, Shonda here is the only one left who's thinking straight. The cop already proved that they're safe as long as their feet are protected. So all they need is enough covering, and they'll be able to walk in the sand. But these girls wanted to cross this narrow wooden plank instead. Now, to be fair, someone has to do it, because this cloth is at the wooden table. But to have the other 2 girls follow her is really stupid. All we need is one person to get to the squad car, because if we find a way to call for help, then we're going to be safe anyways, and we can just stay where we are without risking our lives. Now, Shonda was brave enough to take the initiative and risk her life first by walking across the railing. But nobody stopped to consider if this was even the best approach to begin with. The first problem is that these wooden planks are sticking out of the sand, with the most narrow side facing up. This gives them less surface area to balance themselves and make it across. It's dangerous, and if it were me, I would have tried to disconnect all the wood to make sure we could step on the widest side. Secondly, the more points of contact we have with the ground, the more stable our position is, so I would have taken this plank and used it as a walking stick to make sure I don't fall. Now, it's worth pointing out that we don't actually have the keys to the squad car because it was pulled into the sand with a policeman. That makes things a lot more challenging if we don't find any battery-powered communication devices inside. But there's one thing I would be looking for that would solve this problem. There's no guarantee, but it's very possible this patrol unit has jumper cables somewhere in the car, and even if we don't have the keys, we might be able to jumpstart the convertible. Seeing the patrol car nearby, Shonda here runs as fast as she can until the girl finally makes it to the vehicle. They're so close to escaping, and everyone is excited to leave, but then Gilbert starts to panic. The others watch, horrified to see their friend get wrapped up by 3 massive tentacles that drag him straight into the beach. That's 6 victims down, with only 3 more to go. The girls break down in tears, having to see another friend get killed, when all of a sudden a giant tentacle bursts out of the ground and pulls on the car. Knocked off balance, Shonda comes crashing down into the hood and falls unconscious. Kaylee is now all alone, and the girl's overwhelmed, thinking she might have to leave everyone here to die if she wants to. And the blonde is relieved she's okay, but they both know they're running out of time to escape. The girl searches the police car for something they can use, and finds an emergency raft on the roof. She drops the pack on the beach, and to Kaylee's relief, it begins to automatically inflate. Waking up Jonah, the girls help him walk over to the life raft, and Shonda here gets inside the car first. The boyfriend is next to enter and makes it in safely, but when Kaylee approaches, the whole beach begins to shake. She loses her balance and falls into the life raft as a massive tentacle bursts out from the sand. The girls stare at it in terror, and the monster swings around, slamming the door shut. Desperate, Kaylee climbs on top of the car's roof and heads to the back, where she finds something that might save their lives. It's a fuel canister, and she tries to pull it up, but another tentacle pierces straight through, spilling the gas. Kaylee spots another canister and drags it onto the roof before dumping the fuel on the ground. She pulls the book of matches out of her pants and lights it on fire as the monster returns to kill her. Throwing the flaming pack onto the sand below, the gasoline ignites and the creature starts to burn. The girl stares, shocked that she might be able to kill this thing, and quickly climbs back down into the vehicle. The girls wait inside as the monster begins attacking the car, but it suddenly stops and leaves the survivors alone. That's when the blonde realizes the boy isn't breathing and holds his hand as he dies. That makes 7 victims down, with only 2 left. The next morning, the girls are woken up by a knock on the car window and see a man standing outside. He's not being attacked by the monster, and the blonde opens the door in shock, looking down at the sand. The creature has completely disappeared, and Kaylee here builds the courage to step out onto the beach. They're safe, and the 2 girls can finally get out of here. They walk away from the car, relieved that spring break is finally over. But now they'll both have to find new boyfriends before school starts. But what do you think? How would you beat the sand? Let me know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, leave a like and subscribe, and check out the How to Beat playlist for more videos like this. Until next time, have a damn good day. If you were trapped in an abandoned pool with a bloodthirsty crocodile, what would you do? There's no way to escape, and no one is coming to save you. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the 6-meter hell in the pool. This place is going to turn into a death trap. Day here is working as a crew member on a photo shoot and prepares for the final shots of the night. The man decides to go on a break and takes the time to inject himself with a life-saving insulin shot. He's joined by his girlfriend, Goy, and she surprises him with a birthday present, but it's not what he thinks. Pulling out an egg-shaped container, she opens it to reveal there's a baby doll inside and playfully asks him if he's named it yet. The man tells her to never joke like that, and seeing how serious he is, she immediately apologizes for giving the toy before the man goes upstairs. Getting to work, he blows a whistle directing his dog to jump in the air, and the production officially comes to an end. But soon, this is going to turn into his worst nightmare. The next morning, the boyfriend is relaxing in the pool when his dog Lucky comes over and starts barking at him. Annoyed, the man tosses a ball and the dog chases after him. But as it rolls into the bushes, he passes over a newspaper warning that the local police are searching for a dangerous crocodile that escaped in the floods. In the maintenance room, the friend Mayome turns on the pumps and drains the pool. He leads the dog back to its owner and tells the man to get out before it's too late. Chaining the animal to a railing, he puts his friend's insulin shot on a nearby table, and that's when the phone starts ringing. Day here swims over to find that his girlfriend is calling and puts it on silent before asking his friend to order him a pizza. Reluctantly, Mayome here agrees and throws him a roll of duct tape before leaving, but the men have no idea that it's going to save his life. Later that day, the man wakes up from his nap when he hears a dog barking. Looking up, he's horrified to find that the water level has dropped and it's too low for him to escape. Desperately, he swims to the edge of the pool to climb out and reaches for the light, but the man can't get a hold. His nail rips off as he sinks below, and now he's stuck with no way out. Okay, this man has only himself to blame, and for someone who named his dog Lucky, he's having a pretty shitty day. Earlier, his friend literally told him that he was draining the pool and he needs to get out before it's too late. So the fact that he fell asleep after he was warned of the danger makes him a total idiot. Now, since the water hasn't been completely drained yet, this is going to be his best chance he'll ever have to get out. The level will continue to drop until it's too low for him to even reach the ledge, so time is the most valuable resource right now. It would have been much smarter to swim to the wall with the floating device instead of wasting time going back and forth to get it. He only needed about 5 centimeters more to grab the top ledge and pull himself up, so if it were me, the first thing I would try to do is use my feet to get leverage. If he could push himself up using the strength in his legs, it would have raised the center of his body mass higher and the top edge of the pool would be within reach. We see this technique used all the time by rock climbers who raise their legs extremely high up to help them reach the next climbing hole. Another solution could be to fold the floaty to raise me up just a little bit higher. The downside is that this reduces the surface area, which makes the floating device less buoyant, and it would also be harder to balance. But if 5 centimeters is all we need to escape, it might have been just enough to make the difference. The biggest disadvantage here is that he's trying to scale a flat wall with only 1 foothold. The best way to fix that is to swim to the corner of the pool, because we would be able to prop ourselves up against 2 ledges instead of just 1. This would let us use our legs and arms at the same time to pull ourselves up, and it would have given Day here a much better chance at escape. Thinking quickly, he swims back to grab the floating device and brings it to the pool's edge. The man kneels on the air mattress to get a better grip on the wall when he looks up to see a mirror and notices his phone is close by. He gets a clever idea and takes the sash from his robe, tying it to his glasses before throwing them onto the side of the pool. He tries to hook the phone and pull it over the edge, but he can't get it to catch. Suddenly, his phone starts vibrating and slowly moves towards the edge. If it falls and he catches it, he'll be able to call for help, but that's when he hears his dog barking. The man realizes something is wrong and sees his pet is hanging on for dear life on the other side of the pool. Sacrificing his best chance to save himself, he swims over to rescue his pet. Using the floaty, he pushes the dog back up onto the ledge as the man's phone falls into the pool. He thinks he's lost his only way to call for help, but then he notices that the phone is hanging from its charging cable. Desperately rushing over, he swims as fast as he can and climbs up the wall. The man tries to grab the phone, but accidentally knocks it into the water. Panicking, he brings the device up to the surface, but it's damaged, and he can't call anyone for help. That's when he comes up with a plan and swims for the pool's drain, covering it with a towel to slow it down. Above the water, a pizza guy arrives and announces that he's here to make a delivery, but no one answers. He doesn't know that the man is trapped underwater and his chain is stuck to the drain cover. He notices the pizza guy standing at the poolside and remembers his friend ordered it for him. Using all his strength, he manages to break the chain off his pants and swims to the surface as fast as he can. He yells out for help, but it's too late. The pizza guy has already made his delivery and drives away on his motorcycle. Day here is trapped, and there's nothing he has shown some clever thinking. But unfortunately, he also has a terrible memory. Earlier, he asked his friend to order him a pizza, and in Thailand, pizza companies often promote themselves by guaranteeing a 30-minute delivery, or the order is free. With this in mind, he should have known that help was already on the way. 30 minutes is not a long time to wait, but instead of calmly thinking about his options, he lost his best chance at finding help. Now, what's interesting about this is that if we know the pizza takes 30 minutes to arrive, we can actually figure out how long it will take for the rest of the pool to be drained. Judging by the water level before he fell asleep, and after he woke up, it looks like nearly half of the water is gone. This means he would only have about 15 minutes before he's standing on the pool floor. This is not a lot of time, and if I've already failed at all my attempts like this guy has, it makes a lot more sense to wait for the pizza man than to plug the drain. Now, it turns out that his bad memory ruined another possible way to escape, and he never realized it. When Lucky here was hanging from the edge, Day thought he was being forced to choose between catching the phone or catching his dog. But this actually isn't true. If you think about it, this dog is chained up with no food or water, and that means if we can't get out, both of us will die. It's not a choice between his life or the dog's life, it's a choice of both of us dying or both of us living. Now thankfully, there was a third option, because Lucky's near-death experience just gave us a huge advantage. If you step back and look at the situation, we can only escape by cleverly using the things we have available to us inside of this pool. There's a floating device, a 10-pound drain cover, a couch, glass, a whistle, cloth, duct tape, and eyeglasses. There are a lot of different ways to use these items for survival, but Day has already tried and failed using several of them. That's why this dog falling is a blessing in disguise, because now there are 2 more things inside of the pool, including the dog's chain. Now, we have to save this poor puppy, but thankfully, we don't have to push him up to do it. Earlier, when his friend chained the dog, we saw that it's a clip fastened to the collar. So if it were me, I would have abandoned the phone and gone to rescue the dog, but wait for him to drop off the ledge first. As you can see here, it's a very long chain, and there's plenty of slack. So if the dog fell down, we can reach up to the collar and unclip it. This way, we can not only rescue the dog, but we also get a chain to pull ourselves out of the pool. Even the worst canine swimmers can tread water for over 30 minutes easily, which is plenty of time for us to find a ladder to put into the pool and go back in to help get the dog out. Later, the girlfriend arrives at the pool and finds the man asleep on the floaty, having passed out from exhaustion. She decides to play a prank and runs across the diving platform to surprise him. Suddenly, the boyfriend wakes up and warns her not to jump. Startled, she slips and hits her head on the platform, falling into the pool, and the man swims over to rescue his girlfriend. Dragging her onto the floaty, he realizes she's knocked unconscious and can't swim. Scared that she might drown, he dives for the drain cover and pulls the towel off to drain the pool faster. And now they're both stuck here with no way to escape. That night, the man checks on his girlfriend to find that she's still unconscious and won't wake up. But that's when the dog starts barking loudly. Turning his head, he's shocked to see a massive crocodile and it's on the hunt for food. The man can only watch as the reptile crawls closer, but this dog is in luck. The crocodile suddenly trips on some poles and falls into the water below. Terrified, the man searches the pool, knowing that one of the world's deadliest animals could kill them at any moment. The next morning, the water has completely drained, but when the man checks on his girlfriend, he notices something inside her pocket. Taking it out, he discovers a pregnancy test, and it's positive. He's shocked by this news, but knows he needs to apply first aid if he wants any chance of her surviving. The man looks around for the duct tape, but realizes that it's inside the crocodile's mouth, and there's only one way to get it out. He slowly reaches his arm in, but that's when the reptile wakes up. The man grabs the duct tape just in time and backs away before the crocodile can bite his hand off. He returns to his girlfriend's side and tends to her wound to stop the bleeding, but has no idea if she'll ever wake up. Later that day, he tries to unscrew the drain cover, but it's screwed in tight and the man can't remove it. Giving up, he goes back to look after his girlfriend, but notices the razor blade necklace she's wearing. It gives him a clever idea, and he's about to return to the drain cover, but is shocked to see the crocodile laying on top of it. Okay, right now, this girlfriend here is a major pain in the ass. She jumped into the pool without even realizing that half of the water was gone and there were no ladders to climb back out. It's incredibly stupid, but it's actually much worse than you might realize, because now we will have to spend all of our time protecting her instead of looking for creative ways to escape. This guarantees that we won't have time to find a way out unless someone shows up to help. And since this pool is completely abandoned, that is very unlikely to happen again. Now, luckily for Day, despite all appearances, crocodiles actually have some pretty significant weaknesses that we can take advantage of in preparing. First of all, the fact that it's hot is actually a blessing in disguise, because crocodiles are cold-blooded creatures. It spends a lot of energy cooling itself down and can only regulate its body temperature by keeping its mouth open. This is the crocodile's version of sweating, and exposure to direct sunlight for several days without cool water or shade is going to make it much weaker. That's great news for us, because it will probably leave us alone for most of the day, and we can safely plan how to neutralize it. The bad news is that crocodiles are nocturnal animals, which means they sleep during the day and hunt at night. When we are at our most vulnerable, this reptile's instincts turn it into a killing machine, and we need to avoid that at all costs. If I were in this situation, I would first place the girl as far away from the crocodile as possible in the opposite corner of the pool, and turn the couch over to keep her in the shade. This helps her body recover and adds a layer of protection in case the crocodile starts to approach her. I would also have grabbed the duct tape because it's one of the most valuable assets we have to use for our survival, but I wouldn't stick my hand in to get it. We can see here that there's a dead tree behind the couch with long, sturdy branches. I would have broken off the strongest piece and used it to try poking the duct tape out of the croc's mouth. This might make it harder to retrieve, but escaping a pool without a hand is a lot harder than escaping a pool without tape, and it's just not worth the risk. Because without a hand, he won't be able to hang up his disc. This plate is a high-quality metal print that lets you express yourself by hanging on your own wall the things you are passionate about. They're really easy to put up just using a magnet and no additional tools. And with millions of incredible designs on their website, you can